Yo, what's good people? So I'm back with another battleground showcase slash simulation type video. Keep in mind, in these videos, every single defender I fight has the same amount of health as if they were a rank 3 7-star placed on battlegrounds defense. And this is by far one of the best showcases I've ever done. If this doesn't convince you that Crossbones is the best skill champion in the game, because he is. If this doesn't convince you, nothing will. There's 22 fights against meta defenders in this video. How is there 22 fights in a 15-minute video? Crossbones is just that guy. His damage is that insane. We took down that rank 3 7-star Jessica Jones there in 30 seconds. Obviously, there's no 7-star Jessica Jones at the moment, but there is actually one coming. And just know, Crossbones is an ideal counter. Speaking of ideal counters, of course, he is the perfect counter to photon, the best counter to photon, the fastest counter to photon. I'm not going to explain how Crossbones works or how to play him too much in this video because I already made a dedicated guide to that. So if you're new to playing Crossbones and you want to learn how to play him, definitely go check out my guide. That's still one of my favorite videos I've ever made. I'll put the link to it down in the description. I promise you, it's probably the best Crossbones guide about. But of course, in that guide, I only had a 6-star Crossbones and a rank 2 unduped 7-star Crossbones. And you all want to see the rank 3 gameplay. So here it is finally. My Crossbones is 660. Despite the common myth, the common misbelief that Crossbones needs max sig, he doesn't at all. Don't listen to that. Crossbones is still an amazing champion, even unduped, and definitely worth ranking unduped. All he gets from his sig ability is the ability to shrug off debuffs, and in 90% of the matches you use Crossbones for, it is not needed. Don't get me wrong, it's a very useful sig ability to have at sig 200, but it is not needed. Crossbones is a phenomenal champion without it still. And now we're fighting this Sasquatch. Now, Crossbones' ability accuracy reduction actually bypasses Sasquatch's damage reduction. You know, Sasquatch gains damage reduction for each one of his wrath charges. Crossbones just bypasses all that. That was a rank 3 Sasquatch in 31 seconds. The biggest health pool in game at max rank in 31 seconds. Does that not just prove how insane Crossbones is? If it doesn't, I'm sure this fight will. We have a rank 3 onslaught here. Crossbones is metal and we have class disadvantage, and onslaught is not a hero. So this is like as unideal as a matchup you can get for Crossbones, and he still destroys it. Now, Crossbones' ability accuracy reduction actually does stop neuroshocks from being applied to you, so he is somewhat of an onslaught counter, which is kind of funny. And we get this fight down in 45 seconds for a rank 3 onslaught, nearly 100% health. That is insane for a skill champion. Like, seriously, is there anything Crossbones can't do? If that somehow, some way didn't convince you, here's another matchup you probably didn't think Crossbones can do. This is a old favourite of mine. Back when rintrah was one of the toughest battlegrounds defenders in game, I used to love whipping out this fight. No one expected it to work. So of course, rintrah applies that neutralize to you, which most of the time will stop you from gaining any buffs. But of course, we have that OP ability accuracy reduction, and that is going to stop the neutralize from being applied to us. The way I like to play this fight is I'll just heavy attack until I have 1 bar of power. Then I can drop my special 1, and that will give me 3 furies. Then I can just get my 4 fury from landing a hit or activating overrun, and by the time I have 4 furies, we are never going to trigger the neutralize. Now keep in mind, this is a rank 3 7-star rintrah. It doesn't exist in game yet, but he will soon, and that was a under a minute nuke. So if you're worried about rank 3 7-star rintrahs, you better start ranking up your Crossbones, just saying. Another class disadvantage fight here against this Bishop, and this goes much faster than the Onslaught fight. Bishop is actually a hero, so we're going to be gaining all those extra furies. The only thing in this fight is just make sure Bishop doesn't throw a special 1. If he throws a special 1, you're going to die. I've said this so many times, but Crossbones' ability accuracy reduction is just one of the strongest abilities in game, and what makes it so strong is that it's so easy to keep 100% ability accuracy reduction up on your opponent for the entire match. You only need 4 Furies, so even if you're not an expert at playing Crossbones, you can't keep his Furies paused the entire match. You only need to keep spamming special ones to keep 4 Furies active, and you will shut off any ability. We're fighting this future Ant-Man. This is a rank 3 7-star future Ant-Man. Of course, not in the game yet, but at some point he will be. And Crossbones is going to make a joke out of him when he releases. You think this guy's a good defender? No, 30-second fight for Crossbones, bro. Like, he's making a joke out of all these defenders. 7-star rank 3 Hulkling, again, another champion that's not available as a 7-star, but the difference here is Hulkling might not actually come out as a 7-star for a very long time. He is kind of too OP, but not on defense, not if you're using Crossbones at least, because again, the ability accuracy reduction, it just shuts off Hulkling completely. He doesn't gain any regen against Crossbones, so he's not nearly as tanky, and that was a under 30-second fight, 28 seconds for a rank 3 7-star Hulkling. Like, bro, this guy's so stupid. Like, it's really easy to see why Crossbones used to be my favourite champion for such a long time. It's so hard to see why this guy went under the radar for such a long time, though. Like, keep in mind, when I used to play Crossbones about a year ago, not many other people were playing him. Most people did not think he was one of the best skill champions in game, which is just crazy to think to me. Like, how can you not see how good this guy is? He's got the damage, he's got the utility, he is quite tricky to play, he is one of the harder champions to master in game, but still, I don't understand how like more people did not see this guy was OP sooner. Now we're fighting another Mystic champion, this Werewolf by Night. Against Mystic champions, you might be worried about Mystic Dispersion because obviously Crossbones has a ton of Fury buffs, and unfortunately I cannot demonstrate Mystic Dispersion because, you know, the fights don't have masteries here. These are the same as Battleground fights, but they don't have Mystic Dispersion, which is unfortunate. I might ask someone at Kabam if they could add masteries to these fights, at least just the small health pool fights, so they could actually be like 100% accurate to a Battlegrounds fight. But anyway, against Mystic champions, Crossbones is fine as long as you learn how to play him, because he can keep his Furies paused for the entire match, so you never have to worry about them dropping off and feeding MD. Of course, you have to worry about Mystic Dispersion from your Dexterity Mastery, but as long as you can play Crossbones well enough, you never have to worry about your Furies feeding MD. It will take some practice for you to get to the point where you're comfortable taking Mystic champions with Crossbones, but as long as you keep practicing and as long as you watch my guide, you'll get there, don't worry. Now we're going to be fighting this Man-Thing, and Crossbones is actually a great counter to him thanks to his ability accuracy reduction. Once again, take a shot how many times I mention ability accuracy reduction. But anyway, that stops Man-Thing from nullifying your Fury buffs or nullifying those Postural buffs, so he will never apply armor breaks or poisons to you, and even if he does apply poisons to you, you can shrug it as long as your Crossbones is duped or high sig. But he can do this fight even unduped because, you know, ability accuracy reduction OP, and as long as you keep 4 Furies up the entire match, Man-Thing can't do shit. Now we're going to be fighting this Weapon X, another unideal matchup. Weapon X is not a hero. We got class disadvantage, and of course he has that insane regen. We have no way of countering the regeneration now. You know, Crossbones' ability accuracy reduction might be OP, but it doesn't stop no regeneration. Actually, it does stop some regeneration, but it doesn't stop Weapon X's regeneration. So how are we going to do this fight? Well, very simple. We're just going to build up our Furies as much as we can. Make sure we're pausing them, and then we're going to throw a very big special 3. Crossbones' special 3 is worth going for in some matchups. It does massive damage as long as you have a good amount of Furies, and it does grant you a precision passive, which increases your critical rating. Now, you might be saying, why would you want that? Crossbones doesn't crit. Every time he would crit, he gains a Fury. That is how Crossbones works. So, yeah, that precision of the special 3 is very useful. You don't need to go for it in most matchups, but it is useful in some, and you'll see that soon. Now we're fighting this Nick Fury. Again, another matchup I used to love doing back when Crossbones was underrated. The way you want to play this is you just ramp up with one special 1 in the first life. Then by the time you get to your special 2, Nick will almost be dead, and you can drop your special 2 as he goes into his second life and let that incinerate tick the second life down. Activate my overrun again there to refresh my furies. Now I've got 17 furies and a combo when he's dead. Big 24k mediums. Yeah, Crossbones is just the go. 48 second Nick Fury fight, and keep in mind, that's a rank 3 7-star Nick Fury. That would be impressive if it was a 6-star Nick Fury, but that's a rank 3 7-star Nick Fury. God damn. And now we're fighting off against this Korg. Again, the ability accuracy reduction comes in handy once again. That stops us from taking Thorns damage, so we can actually use our medium attacks against Korg when his rock shield is up. A helpful thing to learn in this matchup is how to heavy counter Korg's heavy attack. Once you've learned that, this matchup becomes pretty easy, but it is pretty important you learn how to do that, because you can't parry Korg when he has the rock stacks up, so it is easy to lose your furies in this matchup. So make sure you learn how to heavy counter his heavy. It's not too bad, it's basically just one dash back light then heavy. Oh, and you do definitely want to go for the special 2 in this matchup, because Incinerate does extra damage against Korg, and you know, Crossbones' Incinerate already does a pretty nice amount of damage. Now we're going to be fighting Peni, and Crossbones, great counter for her. She's a hero, and since we gained those furies, it's very easy to drop Peni's shield. It only takes 1 or 2 hits into a block once you're ramped up to drop a shield. It's kind of ridiculous. Gonna bait out this special 2 and heavy counter it. Peni's special attacks are quite easy to heavy counter, which is nice as always for Crossbones. And now we've dropped a shield, so we can go in for the kill. Gonna go for another special 1 to gain a few more furies. If she didn't throw her special 1 there, this fight could have been like 5 seconds faster. But anyway, we intercept with the striker. Bing bam boom, Peni's dead. 42-second fight. You can do this fight in like 30 seconds with good enough RNG. You can do it really fast if you just go for the nuke and don't drop her shield. But you do want to drop Peni's shield just to be safe. Now Killmonger, I got a comment on one of my videos saying Crossbones is not a good Killmonger counter, and I don't know what they were on about. They must not be able to play Crossbones, because he is a great Killmonger counter. The one thing you do need to know in this fight is you do want to push Killmonger to a special 2 so he gains those indestructible charges. So Crossbones has a ability to fail, so this means he will gain extra precisions from the Black Widow relic, which is really important in this matchup, because Killmonger has a lot of critical resistance, and of course you want to crit with Crossbones to gain your furies. So yeah, it is really important you have the Black Widow relic and you push Killmonger to special 2 in this fight. But as long as you do that, he's a great counter. Gonna go for the special 3 here. It doesn't quite kill him, but close enough. Another combo and he's gonna be dead. Killmonger's special attacks are also quite easy to heavy counter. Oh, and if Killmonger has a counter punch charge, the ability accuracy reduction stops him from going unstoppable when you hit his block, which is always nice. Oh, we got a Quicksilver here. Cute little Quicksilver. Of course, this fight's going to get nuked. He is nothing for Crossbones. I don't even know why Quicksilver is here, to be honest. I haven't seen a Quicksilver in Battlegrounds for about a year, but nonetheless, Crossbones nukes him. I do enjoy this matchup though, because for some reason, I really like heavy countering Quicksilver special 2. I don't know why, it's just so satisfying to me. But of course our ability accuracy reduction is going to stop Quicksilver's evade. That's a given. 32 seconds nuke. Honestly, that could have been faster. That should have been faster. I guess we just got passive AI there. And now we're fighting this Knull. Keep in mind my Crossbones is only 660, not 6200. So we're going to purify less debuffs at the start of the match than what we normally would have. That's fine though, because we got 4 furies at the start of the match, and that's plenty. I mistimed my heavy counter on Knull special 2 there, but luckily we got the heavy intercept, so it's no big deal. And that was a rank 3 Knull down in 27 seconds, which is kind of crazy. Not even a max sig Crossbones. See, like I was saying, Crossbones does not need to be max sig. It is very helpful, it is very nice, but he just doesn't need it. Now we're going to be fighting off against this Iron Man Infinity War. So many people have this guy at rank 3 now. He's a very common Battlegrounds defender, but Crossbones just makes a joke out of him. Of course, he can't auto block us, and he's a hero, so we get a lot of extra damage in this matchup. Also, the ability accuracy reduction stops the Iron Goat from gaining any of his armor ups and going into his last 15% phase, so he's not going to gain a load of power gain against us. So basically, Crossbones, one of the best counters for this guy. And now we're moving on to the last matchup of the video. We got this Terrax. Now you're going to take a bit of damage in this matchup. Not much you can do about that. Unfortunately, the ability accuracy reduction doesn't stop rock field damage, which I think it should, because you are hitting Terrax when he applies that damage to you. But, you know, we kill him so fast that it's not too big of a deal. But yeah, this was definitely one of my favourite videos I've made so far. I always love making content on Crossbones. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you drop a like, subscribe. We're on the road to 7k subscribers. And yeah, I will see you all in the next video.